Welcome to the next episode of the Dark Web Deacon. So let's check our secure connections, adjust our hoodies, and as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Is the dark web bigger than the normal internet? Are hitmen really on the dark web? And who controls the dark web? And is it illegal to access? Well, these are some of the questions we will tackle today in Top 10 Dark Web Lies You Still Believe.
Number 1.
The deep web is the same as the dark web. This is one of the most annoying lies that currently exist today. The term the deep web and the dark web are often used interchangeably by the media, politicians, and even technologists. This misuse, while not an intentional lie, is a gross misinterpretation of reality. The deep web is not the dark web. The deep web is any and all sites not indexed by a search engine, so it won't show up on a link when you Google it. So you can think of things and web pages such as the network that your doctor's on, dentist, an employer, or the network your school uses. I'm not talking about the login page, which will show up on link crawling search engines. We'll talk about all the content that exists behind those websites. The dark web, if we look at a strict interpretation, is the slice of the internet that requires specialized software and often special access credentials to infiltrate.
Number 2.
The dark web is 10 times the size of the normal internet. This is one of the biggest lies by far. The idea that the dark web is 10 times larger than the normal internet. This gets propagated by tabloid media all the time. So what's the reality? Well, The Darkness Online, a study published by King's College in London, in one of the research papers, found that about 300,000 addresses are within the Tor network, which is often associated with the dark web, comprising roughly 205,000 web pages. By contrast, in a Google study from 2013, found that the open web is comprised of 30 trillion pages. In other words, the dark web may be dark, but it's also very tiny. Now, there is more to the dark web than just the Tor network, but this gives a representative sample of the actual size in comparison to the surface web, aka the normal internet.
Number 3.
You can stumble into the dark web. This annoying and prevalent Hollywood trope is by far one of the biggest lies when it comes to the dark web. While on the surface web, you can't just click and end up on the dark web. Going to the dark web, in its truest sense, is a deliberate act on the part of the user. Now, that is not to say you cannot stumble across illegal activity, malicious or disturbing sites on the surface web, aka the normal internet. However, just because something is bad on the internet does not make it the dark web.
Number 4.
It requires computer expertise to access. While many parts of the dark web do require a fee to access in the form of a small Bitcoin donation, or can require you to build up some type of credibility based on posting content to a forum to get access to deeper links. At the end of the day, just getting access to parts of the dark web does not require you to be some kind of computer genius. You simply need to download the free Tor browser, which is available at torproject.org, and off you go. With the Tor browser, you can now gain access to .onion websites and services in which many dark websites run from. So no hacker skills needed, just a computer, the Tor browser, and the URL of the site you're trying to access.
Number 5.
It's controlled by the government. This lie is often parroted as being true, since the Tor network, which makes up a significant percentage of what would be called the dark web, was originally created as part of a joint project between the US Navy and MIT. In 2003, the Tor network became publicly available, and the codebase was freely available in 2004. The Tor network is a group of volunteer-operated servers that allows people to improve their privacy and security on the internet. Tor's users employ this network by connecting through a series of virtual tunnels rather than making a direct connection, thus allowing both organizations and individuals to share information over public networks without compromising their privacy. Now, does the government monitor the Tor network? Most definitely. but they have no control for modification and updates to the system that improve privacy or make it more secure. Also, more recently in 2015, the US Navy invested $1.2 million in the Tor project to further its growth, while the Department of Defense has bankrolled projects to look for weaknesses in the network. So, while the government does not control it, they definitely are heavily invested in it.
Number 6.
The government can't stop the dark web. While the government can't shut down the dark web, they definitely can stop it. There's a number of reasons why they can't shut it down, such as things as government limitations due to different borders and international law, the lack of expertise within government institutions in terms of computer science and engineering and cybersecurity, the fact that the dark web was designed for anonymity and security, the fact that payments are hard if not impossible to track on the dark web, but also the dark web is not all bad. All these reasons are why it cannot be shut down. However, many governments around the world have stopped and arrested many dark web masterminds, including such sites as Silk Road, Alpha Bay, and dozens of others. Also, there is growing cooperations among government and law enforcement to track down ransomware gangs who operate on the dark web.
Number 7.
Red rooms and hitmen exist on the dark web. So, red rooms are alleged hidden websites or services on the dark web where you can see and or participate in interactive torture or worse. It's an enduring myth propagated by Hollywood and pop culture in many recent movies and TV shows. Sinister and sadistic watchers pay, comment, and egg on captors in such films as Fear.com, Running Man, Untraceable, and Unfriended Dark Web. However, no hard evidence exists, and also, the streaming technology needed for some of these services does not currently exist in many dark web browsers. So there is no evidence of pay-per-view quote-unquote red room sites to watch someone's demise. Now, in regards to hitmen and the dark web, people have tried to hire hitmen from phony dark web sites such as Bessa Mafia. Many of these sites popped up along the dark web in the last few years, portraying the conventional Hollywood image of a hitman to try to project authenticity, but all these sites have been proven to be scams.
Number 8.
There is nothing on the dark web but drugs and guns. While these two topics do make up a large percentage of the different websites and forums on the dark web is much more than that. Silk Road, the first Amazon-like website on the dark web, did make it famous and a popular idea that the dark web is nothing but guns and drugs. And today, there still are dozens of websites on the dark web and forums that operate exclusively in order to sell drugs and guns. With that being said, the dark web is much more than that. There are news forums, sporting sites, and also sites where anyone who's a political dissident or is just trying to maintain their privacy and protect their identity online can gain access, post, and search for information.
Number 9.
It's illegal to access. The dark web itself is not illegal. What's illegal is some of the activity that occurs on the dark web. There are sites, for instance, that sell illegal drugs and others that allow you to buy firearms illegally. There are also sites that distribute various forms of disturbing pornography. The dark web itself, though, is not illegal. It offers plenty of sites that, while may be objectionable to some people, do not violate any laws. You can find, for instance, forums, blogs, and social media sites that cover a host of topics from politics to sports. So what percentage of the dark web is illegal, and which percentage is generally legal? Well, The Darkness Online published a study in 2016, and after they did a deep search, found that about half of the 5,200 live sites on Tor were illegal, meaning the other half were not. Also, a University of Surrey study in 2019 found that the number of harmful dark web listings accounted for about 60%. So again, about half the dark web is illegal and illicit, and the other half is not.
Number 10.
It's completely anonymous. The allure of privacy and anonymity the dark web offers attracts millions of people each day to use it. But just being on the dark web does not guarantee you are anonymous. There are several ways you can be unmasked from the shadows, such as malware on the Tor service placed there by law enforcement or other hackers. 2. Common images or libraries across the surface and dark web to track your behavior. 3. Behavior tracking scripts across the surface and dark web. 4. Using HTTP instead of HTTPS routes after leaving an exit node. 5. Security holes on the software running on the hidden Tor service. And number 6, not using cryptocurrency to make a purchase. The Tor browser uses various features to maintain and provide a baseline for the anonymity of its users' activities. But researchers, criminals, and law enforcement are always looking to find tools and ways they can use to uncover your identity on the dark web and surface web alike. If you want to learn more about how to actually stay anonymous on the dark web, check out my previous step-by-step video on the subject. Check out the Dark Web Deacon merch store. We have high-quality t-shirts, accessories, and signature hoodies, of course, and become a true dark web enthusiast and VIP. New videos are published every Monday and Thursday.